Hi, are you a Mormon getting ready to go through the top secret, very secretive temple ceremony called the endowment ceremony? You see, members of the church are not allowed to talk about this ceremony. It's top secret. And only the people who have been through this ceremony, like myself, know what really goes on. Sure, you take a temple prep class in the church before you go, but they're not going to tell you anything. You're going to have to find out going through it yourself. Or you can just watch this video and I'll tell you. First of all, they don't want you to know what you're going to promise to, because then they won't have you backed into a corner right where they want you. And of course, you don't want to look like an asshole and say no in the middle of the temple ceremony when you find out it's not really something you want to agree to. But let's get started here. First of all, you're met with an elderly couple who treats you like you're 5 years old right before you go in the temple. They'll be very kind and sweet to you like this. And if you're a missionary like me, they treat me a little bit less than the lady next to me who's getting married. Married women are so special. Oh, you're so special for getting married. You see, married women in the Mormon church are extremely brainwashed, especially if you're very old and you're a temple worker. These temple workers are some of the most brainwashed Mormon people of all time. Then you get fully J-Buck, and they give you kind of like a shroud to put on. I'm not sure what to call it. Back in the olden days, you just got J-Buck and you stayed J-Buck. Now the women go on the women's side and the men go on the men's side in the locker rooms. And once you're J-Buck and you're in that tarp, you go and you sit in a chair. And you're in this kind of circle thing. You're rotating from this room to this section, little tiny sections. You're going around. And a woman will put like oil on your head, and then a woman will give you a blessing. Oh, you're not allowed to give blessings? Only men? Well, in the temple, women give you a blessing. It's very special. They say weird words like loins in the sinews, which is permanently ingrained in my skull. They bless your loins and your sinews or some shit. So surprisingly, I couldn't find a picture online. There's plenty of other pictures I'm going to show you of actual garments you wear and clothing in the temple, but it's something like this. I picked this guy because he kind of looks like Jesus. Minus the hood, you wear a tarp and it kind of zips up in the front and it's like fabric-y material. They're going to put you in that. You're J-Buck underneath. Anyways, then you will get blessed by the lady. She says loins and the sinews. It's really weird. Okay, so here's the actual photo of what you wear in the temple. After you're done with the weird woman blessing, you go with your aunt into the main room after you put on all your real temple clothes, that whole bag of clothes with the green apron. You put all that on. Well, you don't put it all on, but you put it on. And this is what you look like. This is what you're going to get married in too. So I hope you're ready for that. This is your aunt and this is you, thoroughly confused. You walk into the room and you see your dad or your brother, your friends maybe came to see your temple endowment. They came to the ceremony. They're wearing little Pillsbury hats. And it's really weird. I remember the look on my friend's face. He was like this, just sitting in his hat. So I'm like, Steve, what? Deep breaths, because this is where it gets kind of weird. You're sitting through the ceremony and they do this prayer circle. And this is where you're for sure, you're in a cult, okay? Because they raise their hands up in the air like 3 or 4 times and they say, oh God, hear the words of my mouth. And they're chanting. The chanting makes you feel like, this is what we do in here? We don't do this in church at all. We don't chant in church. Not really. So this is really weird. And it gets worse. This is a real picture too. A guy had an undercover camera. He's sitting in the aisle and that's a legit real picture. Okay, so here's where you start to get pissed off because they say raise your hand and you're going to do the promise. They don't tell you first. So they say raise your hand and promise yourself to obey your husband and the priesthood for the rest of your life. And you're like, God damn. And you bow your head too. They make you bow your head while your head's fully, you have to put that, you have to like, it's very shameful. You feel very ashamed to be a woman. Men don't have to cover their face, but a woman does. And you have to say yes after you bow your head to humble the shit out of you, you know? And also the second thing you promise is to give all your time to the church. So basically you're a slave. They don't care about you building your career or being happy. Promise to obey the priesthood and give us all your free time. It's almost borderline Scientology. Anyways, this part sucks. Okay, back in the day, you'd have to promise to like unalive yourself. But now it's just you promise to slit this area. Cute, huh? Look, there she is. You do the motion. So loving, huh? I'm not making this up. If you're in the Mormon LDS church and you didn't make it to the temple religion, well, now you know. And if you're thinking about going through that, you've been thoroughly brainwashed ever since you were a child. You need to know what you're getting into. Don't give them the power to make you go through something as shameful and dehumanizing as this ritual, especially as a woman. So please think hard before you do this. The propaganda, I know, is all around you. Your greatest joy is going through the temple. Look at her face. She's so happy. Listen, some of these women are clearly brainwashed, delusional. You need to ask yourself, does any of that, what I just said, does any of that shit make sense? No. It's to further brainwash you and to get more money out of you, because your time is valuable to them. They make money. Remember when they made us clean the church? I could go on forever. Don't do it. Get out while you can.